Kia ora everyone. Should we start with karakia?
Yep.
Okay. Kia ora te mareno, kia whakapapa paina me te moana. Hei huarahi mā tātou I te rangi nei, aroha atu, aroha mai, tātou I te tātou katoa. Parawe. Locating yourself. Hey. How did you locate yourself? Rebecca?
Okay. Alright. So I started by locating myself personally and then locating our cluster amongst its wider network. And I think, so there's two nice little things about this module for me. And the first one was that I guess I'm reminded that like in those times where things feel a little bit overwhelming or frustrating or I felt a bit stretched thin this term, that I can kind of, if I can reconnect to my why, is, you know, like, and kind of who I am in this job, it's helped me refocus again and kind of remember what my purpose is. I come back to my driving factors and it's been really helpful. And the other thing that was really helpful was thinking about the cluster in the sense of the wider network, and because one of the things I find quite hard is having the confidence to connect with people outside the organisation, but I've been, I've tried to be a little bit more proactive with that this term, and one thing that's happened is I connected with somebody from the DHB this term who's been working with one of the children that I'm supporting, and it's actually been really good because we've been able to kind of map out a like pathway together for this child, and I can kind of see how knowing who's in your wider network can be a really valuable thing, because you can kind of draw on each other's expertise and make sure that you have a sort of common goal. So yeah, it's been a really useful module.
That's cool. I actually struggled a little bit with the first bit in terms of locating myself, and I think part of that is I was reminded of the lecture, the like guest speaker at my first ever graduation, and they sort of talked about like don't judge someone just by one dimension of their life, like there's lots of different facets of their life, and sort of when I think about my why, it's sometimes a little bit different depending on sort of which self I'm reflecting on. So it was a little bit sort of quite possibly overthought it, but like just that trying to bring it back to in this role at this time, what is it? And yeah, that's been something that like I've drawn back on as the term's gone on, so that's been pretty cool. Yeah. And of course, like the connections in the wider community. One thing that I did find is sort of the cultural team shared it with Te Tai Whanaki, and it has like a lot of the connections with our local iwi and stuff, and I thought actually that's something to draw back on, which is really cool.
I was just thinking that really this this module really opened up my mind. I think I'm a very narrow thinker naturally, because when I think of Cluster 18, I always think of 43 RTLV sitting in an office. I don't think of the area that we serve, and changing that mind frame has changed a lot for my work. But the cluster isn't us, the cluster is where we are.
I like that actually.
I've just written that down.
Yeah. I'm the same as you in thinking about that, and I don't think I've quite had the courage yet to go out there into the wider community as such. But having said that, we are connecting a lot with obviously the different learning support coordinators and Senkos in different schools that come with different skills, and then they know people and it just kind of goes from there. But yeah, I'm with you on that, Owen. I feel a bit the same.
Yeah, I found it interesting to look at the spread of schools within our cluster and then having that overlaid with the 3 iwi map as well. So it kind of sits, obviously the 3 iwi are in our space, but those two maps are pretty identical if you think about the land space. Yeah.
this module made me reflect a lot on my why, and the longer I'm in this job, the more I realise that I have so much lived experience in terms of being a student who struggled, being a mum who had children who struggled, being a teacher, and I feel because such a big part of our job and being effective is building those strong relationships, I already feel like I have so much that I can relate to on so many different levels. So that coupled with our like growing knowledge and confidence, I feel like a much more effective RTLB even this term than I did last term, because I feel like I know more and I'm affirmed in my why that much more.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, I'd say I would agree with that too, because I think the more I consider who I am, my cultural, my professional, my personal background and lived experiences and things, the more I am aware moving forward in my role. Yeah, I think it makes it more authentic and deliberate how I deliver my role as well. When
Our
I
stance is
reflect on
getting
that.
stronger and stronger as our confidence grows and our knowledge grows as well, which
And I think again, like you said, I can relate to both of what you said. It's that my children are out of the system now, and with them both being girls, they both got failed by the system, even though I was advocating for them all the way along the line. But now in this role, that has affirmed my why even more, and my stance, like you say, because you and that lived experience, and then you're learning more about yourself. You're seeing it in yourself too. So I think it's just learning more about myself, I think, and that's been a big change.
Cool. Yeah, nice.
Cool.